Everyone knows the official story. Tupac died in Las Vegas, Big died in Los Angeles. But in the middle of this crossfire, one man came out unscathed, richer and more powerful than ever. Sean Diddy Combs. Now, what if I told you that the deaths related to Diddy didn't stop in the 90s? There's a dark theory going around in the underworld of the music industry. They call it the bad boy curse. But is it just a theory, or is it actually a systematic cover-up? Today, I'm going to investigate all the strange deaths, unexplained accidents, and the warnings we've always ignored. I'm Guilherme, and you're watching DECIFRAHITS. To understand the monster, we need to look at who slept beside him. Kim Porter. She wasn't just a girlfriend, she was the mother of 3 of his children. Kim saw the rise, the peak, and the dirty secrets of the bad boy up close. But on November 15, 2018, the world woke up to news that didn't make sense. Kim Porter, at 47 years old, was found dead in her mansion in Toluca Lake, California. The official coroner's report stated lobar pneumonia, basically a severe lung infection. According to the story that was released, Porter had been showing flu symptoms for a few days, took some medicine, went to sleep, and never woke up again. Now tell me how a 47-year-old former model, healthy, with access to the best doctors in Los Angeles, gets pneumonia and suddenly dies out of nowhere. This story didn't sit well with a lot of people, but the situation is much deeper than that. She had written a memoir, a diary, and in that book she detailed everything. Not only the abuse she suffered from Diddy, but also what really happened on the nights Tupac and Big died. On the day of Kim's death, an artist named Al Bashore, an R&B singer, the father of the model's oldest son and her ex-husband before Diddy, went straight to social media and said outright that Kim had been assassinated. I just found out about Kim Porter's assassination. That ripped the soul out of my body. I know very clearly that Kimberly didn't just suddenly get sick because of pneumonia. That's a bunch of nonsense, seriously, is that it? That's when I got myself into trouble. We had just celebrated our son Quincy's new contract with Netflix. And she was in fantastic health. She was laughing when she saw me and interacting with Diddy at the theater. Better stop here. You know what's the weirdest part? Shortly after Kim's death, Al Bashore himself fell into a mysterious coma. The men couldn't really explain what caused his multiple organ failure. 2 months later, when Al Bashore miraculously woke up from the coma, he said that Diddy tried to take him out because he knew too much.
So do you specifically believe that Sean Diddy Combs or people affiliated with him did something to you that caused your multiple organ failure?
I believe that's the case, yes. Absolutely. This is the first time I'm saying this.
Are you afraid that he still has power outside of prison?
Remember, I was the only one who spoke and survived.
Now, think with me. The woman who knew where all the bodies were buried dies of a mysterious pneumonia. Right when Diddy's empire was starting to show cracks and she was threatening to expose everything. And her ex-husband, who questioned her death, falls into a coma right after. Coincidence or silencing a witness? By the way, that reminded me of another coincidence. Remember, back in 2023 when everyone started finding references to P. Diddy in the movie? Remember the white chicks, the white parties, the women auction, and everything else?
I don't want to date Puff Daddy.
So, in the movie, there was this journalist who almost got killed for trying to expose the crimes of a mafia family. And do you remember her last name?
Sorry, but I don't even know your name, eh?
Latrell Spencer, and you are?
Denise Porter.
Anyway, it might just be in my head. Now, we need to talk about that song that blew up on TikTok recently and made the new generation open their eyes to something that was right in front of us the whole time. I'm talking about She Knows by J. Cole. Although it was released in 2013, only 10 years later, after Diddy's arrest, the lyrics of this song took on a new and frightening meaning. In the chorus, J. Cole says, Rest in peace, Aliyah. Rest in peace, Left Eye Michael Jackson. I'll see you as soon as I die, rest. Aliyah died on the 25th, Left Eye. On the 25th, Michael Jackson. On the 25th. Many believe that these three legends didn't die by chance. They were sacrificed. The theory that broke the internet in 2023 said that, with the expression, "she knows," J. Cole was making a reference to the famous trinity that controls the industry: B. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce Knowles. For a long time, Jay-Z and Diddy have maintained a strong closeness, being practically best friends and almost business partners. But after Diddy's dirty secrets were exposed, everyone started to question how much Jay-Z was involved in the schemes. And some deaths started to seem much more suspicious. Let's start with Aliyah, the owner of the classic hit Try Again. In 2001, Aliyah was considered the #1 in R&B. She was going to be the protagonist of The Matrix and was light years ahead of Beyonce at the time, but she had a serious problem. Behind the scenes, a love triangle. Aliyah was dating Damon Dash, who was Jay-Z's partner and best friend. The problem was that Jay-Z also wanted Aliyah. Damon Dash himself has already said in interviews that Jay-Z was hurt and jealous because Aliyah made her choice. But when Aliyah unfortunately died in a tragic plane crash on August 25, 2001, the path was clear. Clear for whom? For Beyonce? To take the throne as the queen of R&B and become the flagship artist of Jay-Z's label without any competition. And what did Jay-Z do next? He destroyed Damon Dash, kicked him out of the company, and got even closer to Diddy. Damon Dash says to this day that Jay-Z has no scruples. The guy collaborated with R. Kelly after Aliyah's death, even knowing that R. Kelly had abused her when she was still underage. This just shows the character of these guys. And as for Left Eye, she was the creative mind behind the group TLC, who are known for the famous hit No Scrubs. But she also had a tragic and mysterious end connected to Diddy and Jay-Z. In early 2002, Left Eye started recording a documentary about her life, where she exposed the abusive contracts of the record labels. She also said that a spirit of death was chasing her. In the documentary, she had just signed a contract with Death Row Records, the label of Suge Knight, arch enemy of P. Diddy. Documentary. In other words, Left Eye represented a serious risk for the record labels Bad Boy Records, owned by Diddy, and Rockefeller, owned by Jay-Z. On April 25, 2002, less than a month after the start of filming her documentary, the van carrying Left Eye and her team was involved in a serious accident. But among everyone in the vehicle, Left Eye was the only one who passed away. And the third name that J. Cole mentions in She Knows was none other than the King of Pop. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson was declared dead after a propofol overdose, a powerful anesthetic. But things get weird when you look at who was responsible for his security, a guy named Fahim Mohammed. In case you didn't know, Fahim was Michael's head of security on the night he died. And guess who he went to work for right after, becoming head of personal security? Yes, Sean Diddy Combs. The theory is that Diddy, along with other powerful industry professionals like Tony Mottola, president of Sony, wanted to control the King of Pop's music catalog. In the early 2000s, Michael Jackson already owned 50% of Sony's music catalog, which represented billions of dollars. According to Michael himself, all this financial power deeply bothered Sony's top executives, and when they realized they couldn't control him anymore, they supposedly chose to take revenge. By sabotaging his albums and creating conspiracies to destroy his reputation, Jackson's reputation.
I don't know if I should say this, but I don't know who might be listening. There could be a group wanting to get rid of me. They don't want me here anymore.
I don't understand. What do you mean? Talk to me.
I can't talk about this over the phone. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I feel it in my soul. Only God knows. They could kill me. They could frame me and say I overdosed. They can do a lot of things.
In 2002, during a performance, Michael Jackson gave a passionate speech against Sony. holding a sign that said the record label was killing music and then calling the president of the label, Tommy Mottola, who, by the way, was a close friend and sponsor of Padiri's parties. A real devil.
You know. And Tommy Mottola is a devil?
But if you think killing competitors is crazy, what about killing your mentors? Every story has that moment where the apprentice surpasses the master, right? But in Padiri's story, the master turns up dead. We're talking about Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records, the guy who discovered P. Diddy. He gave Puff his first job, taught him everything about marketing, style, and business. In May 2020, Andre Harrell died suddenly. The official cause was heart problems. Andre's ex-wife raised suspicions at the time, saying everything happened very quickly, very strangely. But here's the detail that people overlook. Andre may have started out as Diddy's mentor, but by that point, he was the one working for his former student. Harrell held the position of vice president at Revolt Television, Padiri's network. Andre knew Diddy before the fame, before he became the powerhouse he turned into. So, if there was someone who knew where the first skeletons were buried in the 90s, it was him. And interestingly, he passed away right when the lawsuits against Diddy were starting to take shape. On the horizon, Kim Porter, Andre Harrell, Aliyah, Left Eye, Michael Jackson. When you put all these names on a list, the word coincidence loses its meaning. Not to mention the assassination attempts. Like what happened in 2012 with the rapper Kid Cudi, who had a brief romance with Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, during the time she and Diddy were separated. At the meeting with Cassie, Diddy warned her in no uncertain terms.
He wanted to blow up Cudi's car.
And man, he wasn't joking. Not long after, Kid Cudi's Porsche exploded in his garage, destroyed by a Molotov cocktail. The weirdest part is, Kid Cudi said that when he met Diddy after that, to try to smooth things over, the guy acted with a chilling coldness. And Kid Cudi described Diddy's behavior as that of a real Marvel villain. Man, if that's not mafia stuff, I don't know what is. The Bad Boy Empire was built on a lot of talent, no doubt about it. But it was also built on fear, abusive contracts, and several unanswered graves. For more than 30 years, Diddy danced on those graves, toasting with his friends while his enemies disappeared. But now, the tables have turned. Diddy is in jail. The wall of silence he paid millions to build is finally crumbling, and people are starting to talk. Al Bashor is going to release a book, and 50 Cent released a documentary. But the question that remains is, how many of these natural death cases will the police finally have the courage to reopen? Looks like they're finally investigating Tupac's death, right? Since Keith D, one of the guys involved in the crime, decided to talk and reveal that P. Diddy paid $1 million for the rapper's head. But I've already told this story in another video that's showing up here above, so if you want to understand it better, just click to watch. Thank you so much for watching up to this point, and I'll see you in the next video.